Good evening. This is going to be a short video to demonstrate the front end of our emergency alert and response system. So as you can see here, this is the landing page, which is going to be the welcoming screen that all users are going to be greeted with. Its function is to provide an overview of the system and show some of its key functionalities and features. Aside from this, we have our sign up screen, which is just a normal form for new users to sign up. We have some separate fields which the users will need to fill out if they're patients or family members, or if they're medical personnel. We have some extra fields which we require them to fill out. And then aside from this, we also have our login screen in which users can enter their email and password. After the users log in, depending on the type of user they are, whether they are a patient or family member or medical personnel, they're going to be redirected to a respective dashboard. So let's first look at the user dashboard. So this is what the user dashboard is going to be like. It's gonna, like, both of the dashboards are going to be made up of cards which are going to display all of the patient's information, medical information, as well as the latest real-time heart rate reading from the smartwatch which are connected to them. And in the case of the dashboards, we have some typical functionality. Like, for example, we can add a new patient using this new patient form here. We can subscribe to existing patients. So now, whenever a new patient is added, the person adding the new patient will have to specify the patient's email to log into the watch app, the patient's password for the watch app, and they will also have to set an information access key. What this information access key does is that it allows the patient to have some control over who has access to all of their medical information and their real-time heart rate. So, uh, for example, a patient can add themselves to their own dashboard, or maybe a family member can add a patient to their dashboard, and perhaps like other members of the same family would also want to receive information about that family member that's already been added to our database. So in those cases, we have the option to subscribe to an existing patient, where you just have to enter the email ID of the patient and the information access key. And aside from these modals, for each patient, you also have the ability to delete the patient, in which case we have delete pop-up, and it does the delete operation. Moving on, we have the medical personnel dashboard, which is very similar to the end user dashboard. However, with medical personnel like doctors and paramedics, they don't have the ability to add new patients. So all they can do is subscribe to existing patients by providing the email and the information access key. So this concludes the demonstration for our browser interface, and we're now going to move to the watch interface. Hello, good evening. Now we're going to be moving on to the watch interface of our application. So to start off with, regardless of if it's logging in as a patient or a family member, we're going to have the login screen for the users on the watch. Now, in this case, we are entering the watch application as a patient, so it's just going to show us the current heart rate of the patient. And in the case of the patient, they have two options, which is that they're going to have two options, which is that they can generate a manual alert, and they're going to have some settings. So in the case where they want to generate a manual alert, they're gonna it's going to show the message that it's alerting all of the family members. So it's going to be sending notifications to all of the family members' smartwatches along to their web application dashboards, and it's going to give the user an option to call an ambulance now. This view is going to be the same for manual alerts and for emergencies which are detected by our system. And aside from this, the user also has the setting if they want to change the heart rate limit. So this is the threshold of the heart rate. And this is how the application is going to look like if you log in as a patient. On the other hand, if you log in as a family member, the application has a different user interface, which is in the case where you log in as a family member, it's going to show you for which family member the current heart rate reading is for in addition to a status. And in the case of family members, they have some different options. So a manual alert for a family member is going to alert all of the subscribers. So this is going to be all of the other family members in addition to the medical personnel and doctors and such. And it's going to give the option to call an ambulance now. And as a family member, you can also have an emergency alert. So this is when our system detects that there is an emergency. It's going to tell that the heart rate is too high or too low. It's going to ask you to check on him and gives you the option to call the ambulance now. Thank you.